Hello, and happy Divine Wednesday, everyone. If you are in Perth, Australia, maybe it is Tuesday night if you're on the other side of the world, or maybe it is another time zone. Wherever you are, welcome to our Wednesday morning session here in Australia, where I bring talent into this zone of genius and extrapolate the greatest, most effective values and gifts and talents from the most amazing people. So the Wednesday show, or wherever you are in your time zone, is going to be an absolute must to watch or to listen to through my podcast. So my name's Terry Messenger, and I'm a world-class coach, trainer, therapist, and success activator. So it is my absolute pleasure to bring this beautiful talent onto the show. But this lady that I'm going to bring on is actually part of a book, which is a best-selling international book. She's got her hand in 2 books, and she is writing her own. She is a quantum energy healer. She works with sound, and she just has such a beautiful presence. And I would love to actually bring her on. And before I do, I just want to let you know that my community has sent me a whole load of questions that I've collated, and I will be answering them with the beautiful lady that I'm about to bring on. So with no further ado, may I introduce Miss Olga. Hello, Olga Brooks. How are you?
Hello, everybody. It's so great to be here. It's so amazing to be presented, but at the same time to share a beauty of the wisdom of us all. So, and connect with all of you.
I love the way you speak. So firstly, tell me where you are.
I am in Boston. It's getting warmer here.
Lovely. And as it gets warmer over there, it's starting to get cooler over here. So being on the other side of the world. So where were you originally from?
I am originally from Russia. I came to the United States. I was actually a Russian bride at the age of 22. I came to the States with no English, not exactly knowing where I'm going and what it is going to happen. But I knew in the 90s, I knew that I need to change my life. So
wow, that is so incredible. And, you know, a beautiful lady that I quite often follow, interestingly enough, she's also from Russia. She's a raven beauty, so she's a brunette. You've got that beautiful golden hair. But when you speak, I notice that there's this very similar poised and sophisticated and serene, just this tonality. It reminds me of, my voice only goes into that kind of a peaceful zone when I'm making music with my hypnosis or my meditation. So it's interesting that even just when you're talking naturally, you just sound so incredibly grounded. So let's hear all about, what you do, and predominantly, tell our audience what it is that you do and why you chose to do your work.
well, I think lots of people can say that the work chose us just because it is already inside of us. And it came time in my life where I had to sit with my own self and learn a big lesson. And again, I'm not the only one. This is how the awakening starts, when you go through absolutely awful things in life. My journey was kind of long, I would think, because I had a stroke at the age of 27, and you would think from that experience you would be quite awakened. But it took me another, how many? Let me do the math. 15 years to actually really experience the full extent of the awakening. But that experience that I went through during when I had a stroke, I had experienced supernatural things. I did not know what was out of body experience. Um,
Wow.
I literally was not here on this earth when I had experienced it, and I'll never forget that the speed of light, flying into the space. It's an incredible feeling. And
So you actually, I was going to ask you that. So it was actually a really pleasant experience outside of body?
it was very unusual because we're not used to that speed, and to be alone flying through space is a little bit exciting, but at the same time frightening, specifically when you don't really know what's going on. um,
Yes.
what I I was a Christian, devoted Christian, and I had lots of fears, and lots of Christians too, because we're afraid of wrath of God. We're afraid of things that we had done, and I felt like I was not ready to meet God. I was so terrified because I knew that even though I was flying so fast, I knew in a split moment I will cross different dimension, and I knew I'm not ready. And from that incredible fear, I actually came out of that. So it was.
So you may as well say that you had almost like a near-death experience
Yes.
of something that is like far kind of more profound than we can even fathom here on this earth, that took you into another dimension. Like it sounds like you went into like a transition. And, obviously being so young, I mean, I can't even imagine what that must have been like. And it sounds like you were really conscious of everything that was going on too. So, when you actually did come back and return, and you say that it was kind of like an unveiling over 15 years, I hear you. So that when you ultimately were completely, you felt like obviously you got the learning from that. So, what was the awakening and what did you create from that?
Well, I returned back to after the stroke. I went to recovery process, and it's still like I lost the left side of my vision, so I'm totally blind on my left side of both
Is
eyes.
that right?
And
Okay.
I do get if we did not have GPS and kids, I would probably like drive around the country being lost.
Okay. Oh, it's okay. I'm like that anyway. I can't find my way to the toilet. So, that happens without
That's
me
what
being
happened with me.
right.
When after the stroke, I lived on that street for 3 years and I couldn't recognize my street.
Wow. So you actually forgot? You actually forgot?
Exactly.
That was your street?
In my mind, it looks like I remember it, but when I look at it, it did not look the same. Like it looks like absolutely different. So I did not go into like deep studying of it, what exactly that is, why the picture did not match the memory, which is very
Okay. Do you think it was a different perspective, Olga? Because, let's face it, and in the work that we do, when we look through new eyes at the way the world is, everything changes, right? Do you think that that was like a symbol of the fact that your life was never going to be the same?
It's 100%, but I did not get the message.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you. So tell me about your awakening and what you put together, because I know very well and I teach this, and it's got a lot to do with the zone of genius. So because you are so classically inside this zone of genius, not just because you're here with me, but because we've had this conversation, I've got goosebumps, and I can tell you are living and breathing within your zone of genius, because when I tap in, there's a lot of coaches out there, and there's a lot of energy healers and service providers and business entrepreneurs and people that really want to succeed, but they haven't tapped into their zone of genius. And some of them want to claim to fame to be everything to everyone. And we had this discussion before backstage, right? You know, when you try to be everything to everyone, you kind of lose the magic. And, you know, what I find is, you know, part of the experience when I'm helping people to brand their brilliance, because people think, oh, branding, Terry's a brander. No, I'm not the branding queen. I've got people that help me with that. But what I do is I tap into the codes of what the zone of genius within a person is. And through the layers, what we discover is that there is a pain. There is a pain that may have seemed so unfair to many people at the time. There's a suffering that may have seemed so deep and almost like putting people into this big spiral, if you like. And yet it's those moments of time that are the total gold nuggets. And when you describe your experience, Olga, of going into a near-death experience and a transition to meet your maker, and it sounds like it was happening at literally the speed of light. You know, we use that terminology to say we're going to get you to where you want to be when you do it properly at the speed of light. But you literally had a speed of light.
It is a reality, actually, yes.
Yeah. So right, I want to capture the magic right there in that moment with what your wisdom is from knowing that now, and yet being able to reflect on it in your wisdom, looking back to what you have created. And I know you deal with a lot of the feminine, and so I'll give you the stage. Just feel free to share.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I would like to give you a compliment. Look at you. You are a natural brander, if there is a word. But look at this. The colors that you have matches with the picture that I painted. And this is part of my logo, actually, if you can see it.
Wow.
We're kind of all matching.
Thank you. A lot of synchrony.
Yes, it's amazing. So my journey was, as we women, we go through lots of specific periods of our lives. And we go through them every month. We go through them every year. We go through them all our life. And starting with being a girl, and you look at every little girl and she's already a mama. She's already carrying the dolls, playing the house, doing all the girly stuff that is inviting, creating, making a house. Then we go into adulthood. Our bodies change. We learn what is happening with us every month. The body changes. Our faces change every month. If you notice, like 2 weeks before your period, your face is actually absolutely glowing. It's like all those changes every month, the whole year, the whole life. And then, of course, we go through periods where we meet our wonderful prince. We get married. We're ready to have children. And we think this is how the life going. This is how it should be for everybody. And it's a part of our society and it's part of our nature. And then with me, I went through all of this. So after the stroke, I went through the recovery, and then my boyfriend at the time, he proposed, and I was on my way to go, next stage.
Is this when you were a Russian bride?
Well, that was actually my second husband. So when I came to America, it was a short-lived marriage. It's very not safe way to come and to trust your life to a person. So this is experienced seeing other women to do the same. It's just not a good matchmaking kind of thing. It's just the way it happens. So, but it's for the other, I would think like we would need another few podcasts for that topic. So I was on my way. I've met my husband um, in 2000, actually. We were together for 4 years. I had a stroke in 2003. So I was on my way getting to the next stages of femininity, to carry the children, to take care of them. So when I had my first child, my wonderful obstetrician nurse in Boston, she said, be very careful because mothers, staying at home mothers, they tend to lose their identity. I was like, me, I'm Sagittarius. I'm a fire. I'm creative. I have land around my house. Me getting lost? Well, what do you think? 2 kids later, um, 10 years later, I found myself in a very dark place. I absolutely did not know who I was. I was
Yeah.
asking questions. I did not even think about the kids. I was like, okay, I understand the kids, but who am I and what am I doing here?
Totally resonate with that. That was exactly, and it's got nothing to do with our motherhood. What I discovered is that I did stumble over in my young mum years one very European intelligent female doctor. She was a rare gem, and she said something to me then because it was pre my awakening, and she said, Terry, you are a high achieving businesswoman. You need to be out there. You need to be living and doing something, that is very much on purpose. I just went away and I thought, well, that was just, I think I was just hoping for a magic pill, to make me better. So I totally get that. The loss of identity, and I really feel that brings into the genius zone of, that meaning of life, of when you find your true mission. And when you can find that, the pain of your story, like your story of having that stroke and going through that, that pain and everything that you went through becomes your glory. It becomes your, the story becomes your glory to stand on that rock solid foundation. And, there's nothing like finding your soul God-given purpose, as you would probably know. So what I would like you to do is I want you to tell me what is one of the most profound things that you have done with one of your clients, obviously a female, where she has experienced a big shift. I love to ask this question, especially behind the scenes, not so much out in the open. Obviously, confidentiality retains. But the reason I do it is because it really assists people. And if there are coaches, healers, or people that want to develop a business, if I asked it in a generalized way of, oh, well, what do you do that's so profound, that's so energetically soul aligned to you, you could probably really come out with a lot. But if I ask you to think in detail about someone whom you have shifted the needle for, tell us what you did for her and what she experienced, and maybe even a couple of tips, and then, what happened to her life as a result.
Mm-hmm. It's actually amazing. I love my work because for me, it's magic. I help people on the energetic level, and the life changes in a way that I don't even know, that they have to actually come back to me and tell me how the life changes. And one example is my client. She became a friend. She's from Russia too. She saw I was interviewed on Facebook, and she connected with me. What she was telling me, she was crying. She was saying, I don't understand. People come to me, be my friends, be people I meet, and they say, oh, we have problems. She helps actually people with very interesting thing. She can figure out what is wrong with your body, and she literally prescribes to you the regimen of vitamins or some supplements. And she says people complain that they have this, they have that, and I would tell them I can help you, and they don't listen. Nobody wants her business. So we had the alignment, the clearing of her energies, and she was in shock. The first, what she actually told me, she's like, wow, first you feel great, shift happens like this. Second, she says, oh my gosh, her mom lives with her. She says, we just had a wonderful dinner with wine and conversation, which we have not had in a long time. And the second thing what she said to me, she's like, this is unbelievable. She says, her words, quotes, in quotes, she says, I feel like a virgin, and I just had a breakthrough. She went to Trader Joe's, gave a man a card who she met. She called her, asked her to come to the gym, show the exercises. He paid. She says, there was no teeth pulling. It was nothing. It was just so clear and so nice. She says, unbelievable. Like that.
A subconscious shift. Tell us, what did you do? What was the process? What was the magic process?
So the process is, when you know that there is something is not working, go into yourself. It is something in you, not in people who don't need your services. There is something in you. What is it? You can first of all ask yourself, and you can ask your higher self, which I like to call intelligence. I had learned quantum healing, and I love this reference of our already existent growing up self, as I would say it, but it's just a reference to our really developed spiritual self. So ask your intelligence, ask your guides, say, what is it? And listen for the answer. You can get it. You can get it like
because
this.
you can't ask a question without, receiving an answer, even if it is not immediate. I always say to my clients, sometimes when I'm asking you questions, it's not so that I can just delve in and get to know everything about you. It's really so that your subconscious mind can hear the question and answer it. So I love that. So what you've said is go inside internally, because this is so important. Embody yourself and ask yourself, what are you experiencing? And then number 2, reach out to your higher self, your unconscious, subconscious, higher self that has the wisdom beyond your own humanity. And I know my mum, she's actually watching right now, and she's a beautiful Christian lady. And she has learned the art of, the gut brain and how the inner part of our gut, that the gut health is just so important, isn't it? Like it's probably the most powerful part, but it's the intuition. And I think so many people are always looking for answers out there with their heads. So I'm going to bring it to a question that I have on the screen to honor one of my own clients. And she asks, how do I bounce back when I face business burnout? Now, I know she's over there in Scotland, so I'm not sure whether she'll be listening to this live, but I'm going to encourage her to listen to the playback. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Olga to answer the question, and I'm going to answer it as well. So you're going to get double the dose. So guys, what I'm going to encourage you is for our Wednesday live streams and our podcasts, please send your messages to me asking me questions so we can get your question answered. I haven't put the girl's name on there to keep that private and confidential. So what I'd like to say is exactly what Olga has just described in that energetic field of really, becoming grounded, deeply grounded. And number 2, connecting with your higher self. So when you ask yourself a question such as, what is the reason that I am going through what I'm going through? You know, ask yourself the what question. Keep away from the why. If you are in burnout, or if you are in a situation where you are really struggling, it's better to say, what is it that I need to learn from this experience? What is it that I am doing in my service that is really depleting? Now, I'm going to address it with something that I have created, which is part of my magic, because I know very well what it's like to burn out in business. And Olga, you probably would have seen this a lot yourself. And, you know, I will be doing a podcast coming up on this subject about women who are successful and actually not very happy. So that's coming up. So keep watching, everyone. But in getting back to this question and the gut brain, when you can place your hand on your gut and you can ask yourself the question, what is it that I really need to learn from this? And what is it that I need to do to change the direction? Any what question. Get really creative. And don't put an expectation on yourself. I think part of the element with, you know, zoning in with really high achieving, successful people is that they expect too much of themselves. So where's the answer? I didn't get the answer, right? So what you need to do is you need to sit with that and trust that that answer will come. And when it comes, the answer will be fed into your soul and you'll have the answer because the energy will shift within your body. And yet you may not even remember you asked yourself the question, which is a very, very interesting concept. So that's my tip for that lady. I don't want to over give here because that's not what we're here to do. But I do know that one of the elements for coaches that are burning out is because they're actually doing things outside of their magic. And I'm just going to touch on this a little bit because I'm sure you would understand about this, Olga, is that they are producing something beautiful. Like most of the people that connect with me, I can say with hand on heart, they are so gifted, so talented, and they have a genius zone like you, Olga, that is extremely unique, their own fingerprint. And yet they're out there trying to be like everybody else and they're trying to do everything. And so because they're almost underclassing themselves, underclassing by overselling or over messaging or desperation of silence, trying to be out there giving to everyone, when you know that you are more classy than that. You don't need to do that. Now, I have fallen into that category, and I had someone saying, you're too classy for that, Terry. You're too experienced for that. You're a master at what you do. Why would you be sending messages and spamming people? But when you know how to get your messaging on point, and I am talking to this lady in Scotland, you'll know who you are, that the chances are that you are trying to build a business with all the moving parts that are really not within your zone of genius. So when it comes to you expressing yourself, you're losing your magic and you're burning yourself out because you're trying to do everything else. So yes, that what I can say about that is you need to get the right support. So Olga, I'm going to ask you for an answer, and we're just going to have that one question today because time has got away with us. So what would be a great answer? And I know that you did actually talk about that to begin with, about asking yourself the question. Can you perhaps just enlarge on your own wisdom here?
So let's not to forget that we have the spiritual body, we have the physical body, we have the brain, we have our higher selves. When we deal with the business, the inspiration comes, our spirit comes alive, but then we're going to have to go into the world and actually create with our mind and with our physicality, where we then forget about our spiritual body. So when you actually work with your physical body, remember that real you lives in that body, and the body is only an instrument to feel, function, understand, and experience this life. So when you go in and do anything in your life, anything, the energies needs to be aligned in a place, in a state of flow. If you don't
Mm.
have to do anything, like write something, taxes, meet with clients, make that phone call, and actually do the um, selling, promoting yourself, it all has to come from the energetic alignment. It cannot come from your brain and the strategies of how to do the thing.
Oh, I love that. That's a gold nugget. Can someone please put that down in the comments? Perhaps one of my team can. And that is, it's not about the how. It's more about the why.
Well,
So leave the head out of it. And can you just state that again? I totally know what you mean, but I don't want to take away from your words. So would you state that again so my VA can actually pop that in the comments?
so when you go and do your business, you don't do it from the perspective of the brain. You do it from the perspective. You do it from the alignment of your energies. It has to come from the flow state, of you, of
Love
your
it.
genius, because your genius is inside of you. You're not doing it because the brain is telling you. You're doing it because you want to do it. So
Yes.
everything that comes, and there are lots of puzzles in the business, do it from the place, from the space of flow.
I love that. And because we've got such little time left, and I'm going to ask Olga to show you some of her sound healing. So don't run away, guys, because it's going to get even better. But I'm going to also just allow Olga to share with you one of her best-selling books that she is a part of. So maybe we'll just go one of the ones that you want to actually share with the audience. And there are two. And you can contact Olga definitely to find out. And I'm sure Olga will put the names down in the comments later. So share the one that you feel is going to really add value to our audience.
Sure. I'll just flash this one. This is the amazing one with Forbes Raleigh in here and many other famous people. And this one is Paid Forward Series Notes to Your Younger Self, and it's volume 3 already. There are 18 of us who co-wrote our pivotal moments in life that we are telling to explaining and telling our younger self what is going to happen with her and how things will change. And it's very, very empowering stories. This book was supposed to travel the world before the COVID struck. So that book was meant to be shared with the world and travel all over. And I felt like it was my footprint of my life. So, but the COVID is not the end of the world.
Can you share what your note to your younger self was?
So it's a long one. It's the whole journey. But I would like to tell you something. The chapter of my story, and that is actually you can actually hear lots about it. You can hear about it on Clubhouse when people say "choose you." So my chapter, the name of my chapter is "I Choose Me." There are lots of golden nuggets in this book, and my golden nugget is about choices. So I will read this to you very quickly. The best life lesson I have learned so far is that we always have a choice, even when it looks like there are no good choices to choose from. The hardest choice doesn't mean it is the worst. The fact that you are consciously making a choice already gives you freedom.
I love that. That is just beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm sure you'll drop those gold nuggets in the comments later when you perhaps watch the playback and recommend it for your clients. So now let's give you a moment to share your absolute glorious sound healing. So I'm going to give you the stage, and please just tune in.
I would just like to explain people who never experienced this. I would like to let you know you actually had experienced sound healing when you listen to the music you love. Why is it we hear the sound, be that in a theater, be that orchestra, be that any musical instrument that you feel like your soul is your soul is like opening up and you're getting bigger, like this universe, you're like, oh, I want to fly. That's the resonance in your body. Now the sound Reiki healing is a specifically designed healing modality where I connect where I am all cleared and aligned, and my body is a vessel to get the higher, the God's energies, move it through you and remove all the negativity of a lifetime you had. And I also teach you how to stay sovereign in your energy field, so nobody else from outside gets into your energetic field.
Oh, that's a really big one. Okay, so everyone sit back, relax, and allow God's divine hand to perhaps give you a beautiful experience through this little segment of this sound healing.
Now,
take it away.
This is the heart chakra, so it resonates with the heart chakra. So when you hear that, be that in any music, but this one is a special one because it's made from special crystals, and I can sometimes tell you about that. So I'll just start it. When you breathe in any meditation, you breathe in and out, and sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes we need to work with our body, with our chakras, to release some things, to release tension, to release some energy, stored energies, to release the thoughts in the mind. And when you work with your heart, when you breathe out through your heart. So with your imagination, you breathe through your mouth, but at the same time, you are breathing through your heart and you expand it. When you have anxieties, this is the best technique ever. When you expand your heart, making it bigger and bigger, it can actually be even bigger than your body itself with the energies. And you feel a release in your heart. The anxieties fade away. And of course, after that, you still need to work with your mind, not to let those energies of your thoughts to create low vibrations and shrink your heart again. So this resonance of the heart, sometimes it can remind you of the church bells. Yes, that's why everybody loves the sound of the bells. Does not matter if you person is really the religion or not. So breathe in again and breathe out and expand your heart. Expand it beyond your body. Expand it beyond your room. Expand it beyond your house. Expand it beyond your town. Expand it beyond your country. Expand it beyond the continent we live on. Expanded beyond, all over this earth, as big as this earth. Imagine how big can you be? And yes, you can. You're not small. You're not limited. You have a beautiful big heart that connects. The heart connects with the energies of the earth. We have to guard our heart because it connects us all, and it connects us to the Mother Earth. Now you can go even beyond the earth measures. You can expand and go into the space. Look at the earth. That's how big and free you are. Now I would like you to come back to earth.
Beautiful.
Room. Come back to
Very good. Awesome. That was absolutely beautiful. And so, what can I say? For those who really can just tap into that divine, beautiful music. And, I was listening to a coach the other day who said, before you go live, you ought to put the music on and even dance to the music. And if you love that beautiful expanded kind of music, what do you call that, by the way, that kind of sound? What is that sound healing, like the instrument that you're using?
So these are crystal bowls. They had been created from that technology. They have to be very, like in our phones or any tech computers. I'm not sure if they use it in computers. So when they don't need them anymore, this is what they create after that.
Okay, wow, that's incredible. And look, we've got, just for the record, we've got 8 people watching here on my profile and 11 from my group. So, today we have had a beautiful audience, and I just want to really thank you, Olga, for bringing so much divine value to the audience. And for that lady that has asked that question, how do I bounce back when I face that business burnout? Perhaps you could go back and listen to what Olga had produced. And I feel that when you really just tap into your higher self and you get away from the head and all of the busyness of what's going on up here and really connect in to your zone of genius. So I want to just thank you so much, Olga. And, wait for me backstage. And I'm going to close down here now. And I just want to ask you, is there any last words that you would give to the audience to just take, away a really gold nugget about how they can really just feel their best on a day-to-day basis when they're really stressed out?
The very important thing that I actually wanted to share with you, if you're still questioning if that is your purpose or not, this is the important thing that I had learned. We sometimes, or we are taught to actually go with what we love to do. And in reality, it's opposite. It is what does not resonate in your body is what you should be doing.
Wow. Oh, wow. Because that's a long, that'll be a whole conversation.
Yeah. So yeah, this is all other things. So be observant of what you love, but be observant also what you don't love, what doesn't resonate, which means maybe that is the direction you need to go and help people there.
Oh, yes, because that comes back to the pain.
Yeah.
That comes back to the pain of your story. And quite often when people tell me, oh, this is my weakness, this is what I'm struggling with, you know, I say to them, well, that is actually also your strength. And the potentiality, not only that, but, you know, because there's so many coaches, healers, leaders that are watching this, when you go out and teach something that you are struggling with, you are going to be totally elevated. That is going to be the greatest way to shift the needle. That is to teach it, get out of your comfort zone. So I love that. And again, thank you so much for your time. Please stay backstage.
Yes. Bye.
And we'll talk to you soon. What an amazing lady. So we are going to drop the comments or the link to her book and where you can find Olga, so she can really be able to bless your life if you're feeling that there was something there that she was able to really speak into your life. So for me, what I would like to do is make a personal invitation to understand exactly what your zone of genius is, to really be able to know that, you know, there's no better day in your life than right now to begin to craft your greatest gift and to be able to, you know, elaborate, elevate, and evolve from your mission, vision, and purpose. So when you find your zone of genius, that is when everything can really expand. That's when your energy will expand. That's when your inspiration will come out. That's when the juices flow. And what I'm doing is I am really reaching out to coaches, healers, leaders, and people online that are high achievers that really want to brand something brilliant within a program, within your own intellectual property, where you can craft it, where you can expound on it, where you can create it so that you can have the sacred sales ability to never have to worry about pushing or selling anything again, but rather actually being able to stand in your conviction and build your brilliance through your brand and launch your legacy. So if you are ready to do that, I would love to hear from you. And please check out Olga's page and also the books, because she has 2 books. And I just want to really thank you for holding space. And I will see you same time next Wednesday. And may the force be with you.